Hello, my DOP family. Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Professional. I am D.
Ashley. Mhm.
Thanks for joining us today. As per usual, we will start with our moment of gratitude and then we will transition into our topic of the week. So, Ashley, let us know, what are you grateful for?
I was just speaking with you off camera with this, but I'm grateful for rest. Like, I am in a space where I need to have 7 to 8 hours of sleep. So I don't care what is going on, what event is happening, what we're doing. Just know I need to leave at a certain time that I can get my sleep. I'm just in that space right now, and I'm happy I did that to be here right now.
Absolutely, baby. Okay, listen, y'all. Y'all know that I'm currently transitioning, so I don't even have work, and people be like hitting me up like, "Oh, what you doing at like 9:45, 10 p.m." First of all, my phone goes dead. The notification will not go through because it's like you're prepping for sleep. Okay.
Yep.
And by 10 p.m., 10:30 max, shorty is bloop, dead to the world because I'm up by 7, 7:30 regardless of what time I go to sleep. So if I don't go to sleep at a good decent hour, I'm not getting my hours in. And right now, we need so much rest for anybody that takes a look at astrology or listens to astrology or anything like that. One of the biggest themes that they're talking about is how tired we're feeling and hungry. You know, a lot of us are feeling extra tired and extra hungry. And I don't know about y'all, but I sure am. Like, I'm here trying to like get back to my super, super lean body. And I've just been like, you know what? I need to have some grace. Like, this is
Hmm.
really not the moment for my super, super fit body. Like, right now is just stay healthy, get rest, get good with God, listen to God, and that's it.
No, it's so true. Like, you have to know when to just give yourself some grace and just be like, all right, this is the game plan for right now.
Exactly. And when those energies inevitably shift, then I'll be back in the game. And that's actually a perfect transition because my gratitude for the week is, for astrology and astrologers, like, which originally were our astronomers, right? And I'm thankful because they give us so much information on how to better flow with the energies and the cycles that we are each going through as a collective and individually. So like I use the pattern, Ashley uses the pattern. I've coerced everyone I know to download the
Use
pattern.
the pattern.
Yeah, like I've coerced everyone because I think it's good information to have to try to understand, what sometimes feels unexplainable. You're like, why do I feel this way? Or why is this happening? And then you look at it and you're like, oh, this is what's happening, right? So like today I got a crazy one about all these changes. Oh my God, I'm sorry guys. They're of course uh doing the carpets. I don't know if you hear it, Ashley. No? Do you
I
hear it?
kind of just faintly.
Oh,
I mean,
anyway.
granted, I always have like, I live right on a major avenue,
Oh,
so
the
I'm
major,
always hearing.
they're like vacuuming right outside, literally right outside my door. But anyway, and I'm starting this like whole new transition cycle or whatever, and it's like, yeah, that matches up exactly how I'm feeling, like all this extra thing, and it just gives like that validation, like, you're not losing your whole shit. This is happening over a reason, and helps you navigate better.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so that's my little gratitude because it's really been helping me stay afloat during this very interesting time that we're living in. And
Yes.
I'm grateful. All tools, I welcome them all into my life right now. Positive ones, of course.
Of course.
specify because the right now our words are coming back to us fast. What we're talking about, wishing about, hoping for, initiating, like that shit is rebounding quickly. So we got to be careful with the power of our words.
Oh, you have to be careful because I've seen some things that I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So be intentional with everything you say, even if you're just shooting the shit with your friends, like, the universe, like your subconscious, like, they don't know that you're shooting the shit. They think you're
Right.
being real. It doesn't know the difference. So, but anyway, well, let's get into our episode for the week.
Yes.
So, this was inspired by, I subscribe to Curiosity Stream. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's like a really good platform, and they compile a bunch of different documentaries and different just lectures and things like that, right, to enrich us and learn new subjects. So I was watching this particular one, and it was talking about like the internet and technology and all this stuff. And whoa, they started talking about all the efforts a lot of our scientists and innovators are taking to create virtual intimacy. And I know when I say that, we think, okay, social media, right? Like, okay, we're being intimate, right? We're like chatting with each other, but that's not really intimate, right? Which is why we have so much bullying and so much stuff, right? But think about this metaverse that's being built, right? Like, now there's, okay, so they were talking about this company that gives people virtual girlfriends and virtual boyfriends. So this is like new age sex calling, right? Like when you call into these sex hotlines and you get shorty or shorty female, shorty male, and they have these sexual conversations with you. Same thing, but instead, this is your girlfriend or your boyfriend, but really they're a random stranger that you've never met, you never will meet, but they're like, and it's like it's popular. Like it's
It's a
they're
thing.
making bread. Okay, this is a service that people are using. Okay, and it's like, hey, baby, I love you so much. I can't wait to see you tonight. But there is no seeing you tonight because they're an invisible, not real partner.
How have
Let's
we reached
start
this
with
point?
that one.
How have we reached this point? How literally have we reached this point that we are getting virtual boyfriends and girlfriends and creating some type of intimacy that we can really just get from the human being? Like, how did we reach this point of like virtual life? Like, first of all, too, I
I
want to know
know
how much they're getting
exactly
paid.
how. It's fucking easy. And we're in a society right now that will do anything. No, it doesn't matter what the cost is to the fabric of our culture, of who we are, of like, it doesn't matter. If they can figure a way to cover something that's hard, right? Like band-aid it with a technology, they will do it. Even though, in my opinion, it's only going to exacerbate the problems in the long term. Because no matter what, that it's not real. Like these people know that it's not real. So yes, it gives you this momentary, right? Like this little placeholder. But your starvation for intimacy
Mm-hmm.
can't possibly be fulfilled.
How? How can it be fulfilled? But people are trying to fulfill it that way.
But I mean, people have blow up dolls as their girlfriends too. Those are not even talking to them, those are not even speaking back.
I think that's what people want sometimes.
Sometimes, off Many people would be, why do you think, the whole mail order bride situation that happens, right? Why do we think that happens? I mean, I have a friend who, by the way, attractive man, well off, you know, all the things, right? Like all the check boxes checked, okay? But he told me once upon a time, I had to go in on his ass. But he told me he was considering a mail order bride, and I said, "You're a coward and an abuser. The only reason you want that is because you're tired of dealing with the women out in the in like the regular society. So like what you want is an indentured servant."
Ooh, what did he say?
Indentured servant. He's looking at me like, "Well, but no." He had to change that too. Now he's looking for love. Thank God. I was like, dude, like what you're saying is you're a coward. And that annoys me too because, and I think we kind of mentioned it in our live. It's like men, and this is not just men, women as well, because women are
Yeah, we're generalizing.
we're generalizing, and I'm not saying just men, women as well. Um, but so let's just say in general, we work so hard in our careers, our education, our this, our that, our whatever, and then when it comes to our relationships, we're like, they're so hard, they're so difficult. Why is that? Why do I have to put any sort of effort? And it's like, but everything takes effort.
Effort. Like I can't say that more than enough. Like I feel that's why relationships fail so much these days because it's like who wants to try? Like, oh, they're getting on my nerves, very, very take. But it legit takes effort just to even check in on the person or just trying to coordinate even an argument and wanting to reconcile after an argument. It takes effort, and I don't think many people want to do that anymore with another human being.
Because and it's because we've been, in how I have seen, and how I understand it is that, it's just has been the progression of how we've been wanting everything easy peasy. We've been on this
Yep.
trend of making everything as easy as possible. The microwave, right?
Uh-huh.
Generations of everything comes to us easy. And it's like, that's not really how things work. And I have
Work.
to say, like, yes, like I find relationships super difficult, especially to start them. Like that beginning process of like getting to know someone, like, oh, do I want to do that long term? Do I want to do this long term? I get it. It's tough. And it's certainly easier to do it with a fake person that's going to be like, yes to everything that you say, right?
Yes.
There is no coordinating a date. There is no, that other person's getting paid to listen to what you want to do.
Uh-huh.
Seems like you're dating someone and you're telling them like, well, what I enjoy is dancing, learning this, but they continue to offer like to do things that, aren't matching up, right? Like, right? Because like there's another human being real human being interacting with you that's not getting paid to just yes ma'am you.
I don't think people are willing to compromise if this is like a wave or the direction we're going. I think people are not wanting to compromise anything at all. Like, because in relationships, you have to kind of, it's a give and take. Whereas now you have this built in person where you don't have to even consider anyone's feelings. And it's such a shame,
And
honestly.
like the thing is like it's just like it's been growing and growing, and this is exactly why we're now this is why this is just another expression of how we've gotten to how left and right we are now, right? Like how we can't find no middle. It's the same thing,
Hmm.
as above so below. Like we're experiencing it on every level. Like employers, employees, right? Like religious faiths, all of the jazz. Like it's all just like on one end or the other, and nobody wants to put in the effort of being like, you know what, I consent to this.
Right.
Like this I can do, like this is okay, and this I cannot, and finding that middle ground, which is always the best answer. Always. It just always
Always.
is the best answer. It's always better than each extreme. Um, but it's literally like we're creating that with this easy microwave. We've created it, not we're creating, because it's already here. Let me change that. It's
Mm-hmm.
obviously, but this is why we're here. No, like our ability to, but then also I think, why is that? And then I think, okay, people are, their time and their energy is has to these days be put into a survival mode, right? It's like constant
Right.
survival because they have work, they're thinking money, they're thinking this, and people are spiritually like deficient, they're starving, spiritually. So there's no like, let's put this in the
Yeah.
hands of God and the universe. Everything is on them, right? That's why stress is so high and all of anxiety is so high, right? And you know, I forgot. I lost my train of thought because I'm like, this like spiritual starvation that we're in is, I think gonna continue to grow if we're resolving these issues superficially instead of like dealing with the real
Yeah.
issues, which is get down and dirty and do the difficult thing and not circumvent it with the easy thing.
And that's the issue with society today.
And oh, that's where I was saying, like, we have to, like, it has to be a social change on so many levels if we want people to have the space to be able to maybe be better in their relationships and other things. Then it needs to be ease. They need more ease in other areas of their life.
Hmm. Eh, that would take a lot of social changes that I don't know if we'll even be around for that, honestly, at that point in
I'm
time.
way more optimistic than that. I think we'll definitely be here for that.
You think so?
I think
I
we're
feel
so
like,
close because change is one of those things that like it happens really slow and then all of a sudden. It's like it's those things. And I think we're a
hmm
lot closer. We're like 20, 30 close. All it takes is one big war and our whole society changes. It's like the natural cycle. As a matter of fact, Ray Dalio has this really great book, and I was watching. He has like a mini film on it. I'm not
hmm
remembering the name, but in a second I'll check my YouTube. But anyway, he goes through like the cycles of societies ascending and descending, and he looks at it through like our historical, like when the Dutch was, the superpower, and then we look at
hmm
and we look at all these cycles, right? And right now, the US is at a very critical point coming in with China, right? So, like, what we do now is going to be incredibly critical to what happens, in the next couple of years. But it's seeming pretty feasible that we will be in a pretty serious war with China, and that will change 100% our societal structure because that's just what it takes, right? There's a revolution. Like right now, people are angry, right? Money's not great.
Yep.
People are fighting with each other. We're fighting
Right.
internally. Like it's part of the cycle. This happens in all of these like great empires. And that's where we are. We're fighting with each other. And when we fight with each other and our resources aren't there, the others who are doing better and are not in social unrest and they're right behind us are coming in for our ass.
Yep.
And then what happens? Boom, there's a conflict, and then somebody ends up being the winner, either the one that was on top or the one that wasn't. It's usually the one that wasn't in history, usually, because they're in a better position right now. They're stronger. And what happens? Like our whole societal structure needs to change because it becomes it's already in the ground, right? We've lost,
Mhm.
we've defeated, right? And so it makes
China's been waiting for this moment, though. China's been waiting for this.
woo!
They've been moving.
They've been they've been they've known that this is coming because
Yeah,
natural pattern cycle that
yeah.
we as Americans, right, our leaders are not, I don't know if they're not taking seriously or they're just not doing what it takes to reverse the issues. They're just letting the cycle just go right through. Like they're just allowing it to, when there's information out there, it's like, yo, we're not gonna be the exception. Like we're
Yep.
following the exact same pattern that every other superpower has followed. So in my opinion, and opinion of other people that I've, listened to and their ideas and their stuff, it's pretty imminent. Like we're looking like 2030, we will have a resolution to all these wars and issues that we're having. So
Mhm.
it's going to be a tumultuous period, but with all of that, there's hope. I think that that will give us finally the space to say, yo, we cannot continue to run our country in the same way that we did 200,
Yeah.
250, 300 years ago. We're not the same. It's just like, interpreting myths and doing, I've been watching a lot about myths and how it plays a part in our society and our culture
Decided.
and,
Mhm.
and our consciousness, right? That's like so built in these myths. And like, we need to build new things, right? That people of our time can relate to. They're allegories to remind us about ourselves. Like it's hard to say to articulate in a like a smart thesis about like the things that we go through internally. You need a poet. You need a allegory.
Mm. When you said allegory, I was like, "Oh, yes, yes."
Yeah, a good old allegory. Like to describe the ineffable, right? And these days we don't have, I think, and I think myths are important. What new myths do we really have? I mean, the newest one we've had is what, the Big Bang Theory,
We don't have necessarily new myths
that
or
people can like gravitate to and like see themselves in them and have them be inspired to reach different levels of ourselves, right? Like we don't even think that's a possibility for ourselves. People think myths are like completely untrue, like they're impossible.
no. I mean, we're just focused on virtual dating and
You're
virtual
very
sex, maybe.
right. No one's even thinking that deep. They're like asleep. Not no one, but a very small quantity. Although it's getting better, I'm thankful for that, and I think that's part of why we're going to be in a better space in
Yeah, I hear
in
you.
not that short a time and not that big a time. But I think that's
Oh,
why also our energies have gotten so hardcore.
yeah.
COVID and all this stuff. Like, there's been a lot of stuff happening that I think has made people at least think a little more. Like,
Oh, we've been thinking. If anything, there's some myths in that. How about that? There's some myths in
right,
COVID.
you're right.
If anything, what I've gathered, there has definitely been. Everyone has an opinion. I'll
these
just
are
say that
these are facts.
everyone has an opinion.
These are
So
facts.
there
I
goes
mean,
that myth.
but nowadays, I mean, everybody has an opinion, because now you don't need anything to back up your opinions, or any, I mean, I get it, they're opinions, so like, do you really need a backup? But like, it needs to have some sort of legitimate train of thought, and they don't be having it. And
There's
which, to
nothing.
like bring it back to what we like originally were talking about, I think what I'm concerned about is that if we continue to patch these things up in this way, we're going to get further and further and further and
Yeah.
further from that. And but people will eventually get to a point where it's like they can't no more. You know, the soul will talk to you eventually. You know, it will try, it will get your attention eventually, even if it's towards the end of your cycle. It's gonna come, you know. And I would really like to be in a space where people have a more of an opportunity to explore that, right? Like be exposed to that more. And with that being said, let's talk about that other thing we were talking about. They're like coming up with this thing. And by the way, I'm thinking of like how this is going to work in this metaverse that's now like the big thought, right? There's this like clothing you put on, right? And it mimics hugs, okay? So think about this. You and I are in the metaverse right now instead of being just on our regular things, right? Let's say we're in the metaverse and we're like, oh my God, we're so excited. And like, we go to hug, you have one on, I have one on, and it feels like we're actually hugging. Mm,
No,
I,
absolutely not.
that's complicated.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, absolutely not. No, we need to stop. Like, we cannot go this far. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, how it's, oh, what, they're gonna literally have virtual sex. Like, you're gonna actually feel a a object going into an orifice. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, yeah, I believe that. I believe that someone's probably already trying to do that. Someone who has 5 dolls that they have relationship with, 5 of these, because they're not even blow up. I call them blow up because, I don't know, it's fun to say, but they're not even blow up. They feel real. They real like they be feeling real,
Yeah.
real, real. And one of them, I'm sure is trying to crack the code because why? It's gonna make money, baby.
Go make money.
Our inventions, before a lot, I mean, I'm not saying none of our inventions are, but such a huge amount of our inventions now come from this desire to make money, right? So it's not a desire, before all of our inventions were just a desire to make society better and make us better, to improve, our lives. And it's not to say that, like, okay, I get it. People are like, but what about people who have real issues with relationships and
Yeah.
intimacy? I
Yeah.
do get that. I'm not insensitive to that. Um, However, I don't know if patching it up in that way is the best resolution. I mean, to me, is the same as giving someone a pill that we is only going to maintain them, right? Which, I mean,
Hmm.
they're in like dire, like they're about to die. I get it. You need something to resuscitate them, right? Or to get them to some sort of normal level. But to remove the necessity of growing as a person and overcoming that barrier is dangerous, in my opinion, for our soul growth. Like, that means like the things that we've come here to dissect and to improve and to grow, and
Yeah.
you know those are the things we find challenging, are the ones that we came here like, yo, we want to get better at that. That's the shit that we struggle with, right? And we just give people a pass.
Every time. Because it's easier. That challenge, people, I don't, and that's why I say, like, I don't know what's gonna make people make that change. So as we head further into technology and everything, that's why I was like, oh my goodness.
Ooh, you like blank your I can't hear you. I couldn't hear you. But but something, I don't know either, like what's going to get down that road. But what I think I'm often, what I'm often, I think that was better. I hear a little bit, but I think something that, I'm not going to say fearful because I trust in anything and everything that the universe considers to be necessary for our development.
Right.
I mean, something that is being spoken about a lot is a solar flare. So there's supposed to be some pretty like wild solar flares, and if we get a huge solar flare, we're in trouble because all of our shit's gonna go down. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Thing we have is electric powered. Everything for our survival, even how our water is managed.
Yep.
And course corrections, I could see that being a course correction. I could see that being a course correction to just like remind us, like, hey y'all, um, we can fuck this up. You know what I mean? I think people, like, I think so many folks think like impossible, like we have security, we have
Mm-hmm.
these agencies, all the CIAs, the FBI's, all the 3-letter fucking agencies. They think all these people are like these gods, basically. No, they're just regular folks doing regular shenanigans. And guess what? The universe and what's happening out there don't give a fuck about what we think we need and what we got going on here. The sun will solar flare when it's ready, and it's a huge possibility right now. So that's what I think about what is it gonna take.
Right.
And I don't know that it's gonna come from us.
I don't
Um
think so either.
it's gonna come from above.
I
Um,
agree.
and I think we have to wrap our heads around that there may very well be a course correction, not to take away technology, because I also don't want to come off as like technology is bad. That's not true. There's many great applications, but as a society, our consciousness, I feel right now, isn't prepared to take on the responsibility of the technology, the next level technology that's being worked on. We're not prepared. We can't manage what we got going on right
We
now.
don't we don't know how to manage exactly. We can't even manage what we have right now. We can't. So
Like,
I think
even
that's a good question to propose to people out here that is watching and listening, you know?
I agree. I agree. Like, what do we see there? Like, just managing our social media networks is like most of these social media companies I was watching. It's like a stupid number, a percentage of their workforce is deleting nasty shit from the internet, which obviously, like, they still can't even keep up, and they
They
have
can't.
a lot of people working on this shit.
That's
And
true.
that's social media. We can't figure out how our kids, like like how they're taking on social media and how they're growing up, which, like, we have no answers to all of this, but yet we don't want to just leave it at that and at least figure it out and get it okay. We're going to the metaverse now.
I'm just not. I'm just not with it. I'm not on board. Maybe I'm just
that
not on board.
that's too
It's
far for me.
happening. It's here, but I'm just not on board.
It's definitely not something I see myself participating in. I mean, I hardly participate in what we got going on right now because I think it's diminishing our ability to be human, to just be with each other and grow and experience and love and all this stuff. It's becoming way too impersonal,
Hmm.
where we find certain people to be almost gods on these platforms because we know nothing of their real life. And and then making everybody else feel like shit that's just normal humans. You know, like, I don't know. Like, that's only gonna, it's not, the metaverse is only gonna take all of that into an additional, like, realm. You know, like, bullies are still gonna be bullies. They're gonna be bigger bullies. Now they can bully you, like, real life, like, not real life, but like physically
Hmm.
this space, you know. So now it's not just words and typing. Now we're going to add a dimension of physicality.
I feel like it's just a bunch of nerds that just want to take over the world. That's all I still find it is. They were
I don't think it's,
severely bullied in their lifetime, and they're like, we're gonna take over the world now. Tell ya.
but I think it's more than nerds. You know, I mean, nerds are like, yeah, they're definitely
I'm
going out
teasing.
there. But our nerds, yes, they are imagining these spaces and stuff, which is pretty cool. But I mean, the people that are gonna be like super on there, you know, are most of just our regular folks, you know, just like we see now with like phones and bullshit, right? It's just regular people, and that's what's gonna happen, you know. It's just gonna be every personality type, every, you know. And I think that's what gets complicated too, is those like dynamics that can always play out. It doesn't matter. Like, there's always going to be some level of those energies playing out. What this diminishes is the ability to take each other seriously as just like two normal human beings,
And
and
people.
yeah, as people, and having that compassion and having grace for people, you know.
Yeah.
That's what dies, which
Yeah.
is why we're seeing so many crazy things like swatting. Like, why are people doing that to others? That's fucked up. That whole, like, for those of us that don't know what swatting is, they're like, call the authorities on people. They'll tell them the person's address, and they'll say that they done killed a couple of number of people and have them, you know, sequestered or whatever in the house. So then, of course, the authorities go in there and, like, you know, fucking 30 people, helicopters, all this shit, guns everywhere. They show up to this house where nothing's happening, putting people's lives at risk. And this is happening real life. But why is this happening? Because there's no sense of like, hey, this is a normal, regular human being. This is
Yeah.
going to be 30 regular human beings with guns that can and will fuck up and kill someone. Real life, not in your fake video game.
Oh, goodness. Wow. I think we should wrap this up because we can go on
On that
further.
note, on the swatted note, we're gonna cut it out
Because that is now heading into a whole different thing.
it's deep, y'all. But listen, we want to hear your feedback on all of this technology advancement and this, like, this new frontier that our people are building with this, like, virtual intimacy that they're trying to build. What do y'all think about that?
Let us know your thoughts.
Because we think it's a lot. I think it's a lot, but
It's
here
too
we are.
much. Demasiado. It's just we gotta stop. It's just too much.
Demasiado. Well, out, y'all. Let's figure something else out. Let's figure out how to feed everyone and give everyone housing. Let's figure that out.
Basic stuff.
Let's figure
Basic
that out, please.
safety needs. Let's do that first.
Por favor.
All right. Till next time,
So,
y'all.
next time, love you all. Mwah.